Hello and welcome to the Daily Mill for Thursday, 20th of October 2022. In today's Millwall news, massive development in terms of the training ground. This is from millwallfc.co.uk. Follows the decision by Sevenoaks Council Development Control Committee. Apparently they have approved Millwall's training ground subject to certain conditions. Millwall Football Club welcomes the decision of Sevenoaks Council Planning Committee to approve its application for a new training ground site in West Kingsdown at a meeting on Thursday night, 20th of October 2022. Apparently this meeting was live streamed on YouTube. I don't think there's a video of it. I'm trying to find the link. I couldn't find it. We have to wait to see decision and the minutes from the meeting. The decision, was it a unanimous vote? Was it split? We're not too sure. The decision is a significantly positive step forward in the implementation of the club's vision for a state-of-the-art training facility for the first team and academy, which is aligned with its long-term objectives. The club would like to place on record its gratitude to the council's planning committee and officers, not just for making this decision, but also for their outstanding professionalism and cooperation during the process to date. This is, of course, incredibly important and very positive news for the football club, Lions Chief Executive Steve Kavanagh said. We are very thankful to all those who have contributed to helping the club get to this point in what is a long and complex process, and we are excited about progressing further in the months ahead. There is a concerted commitment to ensuring delivery of a high-end and state-of-the-art training complex which is aligned with the club's long-term objectives and in keeping with its values and principles. There is still much work to be done before the facility is up and running, but everyone connected with the project will continue to work every bit as tirelessly as has been the case today in order to fulfill the club's vision. One of our key aims is bringing about a meaningful and positive contribution to West Kingsdown and surrounding areas through the industry-leading work of the Millwall Community Trust, who are excited to begin such endeavours. We will continue to keep supporters updated about notable developments in the months ahead. You can find out more about the new training ground site and plans by clicking here. So they have their own website, which is millwalltrainingground.co.uk, which I've shown you before in a video. I had a look at the planning application. It's absolutely gigantic and enormous. It's incredibly complex. I was going to do a video on it. I started to film and I realized this is insane and I can't cover it properly because I don't really know what the fuck's going on. So I had to abandon that. But now, is it done and dusted? No. This is positive news, but there are still a number of blocks that could be created. Right. So this is the full officer report that the planning officer wrote up this report to send to the committee, because obviously they don't really know what the fuck's going on, so they defer to the planning officer and the planning committee, and they say, what do you say? And this is what they say. They've got two recommendations. Recommended A. So this is it here. This is from pa7oaks.gov.uk. It's an online application. It's one of the documents on the planning application, which if you search for postcode TN156AY, you will find that's it here. You search for this postcode here on Sevenoaks District Council Planning Committee. Land east of Westfield Cottages, Falcon Road, West Kingsdown, Kent, TN156AY. Exactly, why? Item for decision. So the application is referred to the Development Control Committee, which is the A committee that met tonight, Thursday night, and apparently improved it, but we don't know what the situation is yet. At the discretion of the Chief Planning Officer, as the development is of significant nature, being a major development in Green Belt. So that's the situation there. Recommendation A. So the planning officer recommends that planning permission be granted, subject to the application needs to be referred to the Secretary of State as a major development in the Green Belt to decide whether to call the application in. So the Secretary of State for Her Majesty's government will look at this, and then they could say no, they could veto it. Why would they do that? Well, there have been a number of objections. I think mostly from the people in Westfield Cottages. We don't really know, because obviously their names and addresses have been redacted in the comments. But you can see the comments if you go to this planning application. You can see the comments where I think it says public comment, and I would say it's probably 75% against, 25% for. And I think a lot of the ones who are against it are the people who live in these Westfield cottages, which are a row of cottages which are directly opposite this land where the training ground will be built. So I would understand why they would be upset. Some of them had general objections, some of them had specific objections, namely that they had been forced to pay for an upgrade to the sewer system outside in that road, and they weren't happy that Millwall were going to connect into that, and they're not going to be paying towards it, because apparently those who didn't pay couldn't pay. They had a lien put on their home so that when it was sold, some money would go to the construction of that sewer. So they were like, well, this is still ongoing. They're moving in now. They're going to connect to the sewer. So are they going to pay to upgrade the sewer? And then what's happened to the I already have to pay when my house is sold to do this and all this kind of thing. That's a specific objection. But here's the thing: those people who object, if they get some kind of organisation going and bombard the Secretary of State with coherent objections, that might delay it. It could derail it, but maybe not, because I think most of the town seem to be in favour of it. It's just the ones who live right there that are not too keen on it. But again, there is a possibility that the Secretary of State could have a negative impact on Millwall Football Club's desire to build this facility there. The conditions set out below, subject to any minor changes to working begin agreed. Satisfactory legal agreement made under Section 106 of the Town Planning Act being completed no later than 31st of January 2023, unless in accordance with the new timescale, blah 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 blah. So basically, Section 106, what's that? It's a shakedown. It's money that you need to pay, extra money, which is generally road repairs out in the local area, highway improvements, public footpath improvements, shit like that. But here, they say the Section 106 agreement shall include the following requirements. So these are things that Mill have to pay for that are not related directly to what they want to do, but it's for the benefit of the local community, and they have to pay for this. So, community benefit plan for the district of West Kingsdown in particular to support the objectives of the council's community plan. Don't really know what that is. Probably find out later. Community liaison officer. Now, believe this was. I'm not sure if this is the Mill Community Trust thing. This is someone else. Not too sure about that. An economic development strategy to maximise opportunities for residents of Sevenoaks district for employment, skills, training, and volunteering, and support the objectives of the Sevenoaks economic development strategy. So basically, they have to look to employ people in the local area, maybe work experience for kids. I'm not too sure if there's a secondary school in West Kingsdown. I mean, it's a pretty sizable town. There may be, there may not. I think there's a couple of primary schools. I'm not sure about secondary school. But I like work experience, that kind of stuff, and maybe holding certain events there. Funds to improve the public right of way to Hever Road, West Kingsdown. Yeah, that's a road that's not actually near the training ground, the potential training ground. It's on the other side of town, is it? So that might be a nice little sweetener in terms of getting the whole of the town on board. They already seem to be. It's just those people that live close to opposite the training ground who are objecting. But you're going to pay to improve the road, either road. I don't know what public right of way means. I don't know what that means. Not too sure. Travel plan monitoring. So all of this yogurt knitting, bicycling, it's climate change, whatever that is. They have to have a travel plan. Basically, they want all the players to fucking carpool and shit like this. But I'm not sure about the first team. I think, but definitely for the junior teams when they're coming in, which is the next point, shuttle bus as part of the overall travel plan. Now, Mill said they were intending to have a shuttle bus, but they weren't going to run it from Longfield train station to the new training ground, which is it's a pretty easy journey. It's more or less a straight road. It's quite a long journey. But there is Eynsford train station, which is on the other side of the Brands Hatch, and it's probably the closest train station actually. But they said that we're going to run the shuttle bus to Longfield, which I don't know why they do that, because I'm looking at the train services and run through Longfield. You've got trains that run from Denmark Hill, Bromley South, and then various stops in Kent, whatever, St Mary Cray, whatever, I don't know. So in terms of getting the players from London, it would make more sense to go from Hynesford, because that the trains that run through there, they go all the way up through like Blackfriars. In the mornings they go like all the way up to like Luton, I think. But those trains stop at Elephant Castle, Peckham Rye, Nunhead, Catford. So proper like mill areas. But the train that goes through Longfield only stops at Denmark Hill, Bromley South. So maybe they're trying to get players from the other side of Kent. I don't know. Maybe this is our intention to get players who would otherwise go to Gillingham and other places like that. So then they have an absolute litany of conditions, which, like I said, if you've seen the original planning application, all there's like 150 documents. That's how huge it is, how impressive it is. This is life changing, and isn't it interesting? Now we've actually winning some games. The Championship League is shit. Could we have this state of the art training ground in time for the 2023-2024 season in the Premier League? Question mark. So here's all the things. This one here is they have to have a mitigation strategy for hazel dormice. So protect the hazel dormice and all kinds of other stuff about. One of the things that was sticking about is a construction management plan. Highways Agency very fussy about construction traffic causing problems at the junctions on the M25. So I don't know how the fuck they're gonna get in there then. Like, will they come off at a different junction and come up? Will they have a yard where they drop off to? And then use like full transit vans to move the stuff between the yard and the training ground. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, it's in these days and age, it's not what you want to build. It's like how you're going to build it, because a lot of people get pissed off about what you're going to do, and like literally look how long this. And these are the conditions of what Millwall need to do. It's going on, and it's going on. It's going on. It's electric vehicle charging, blah blah blah. All kinds of stuff. Literally, this is nothing. Like hedgerows, there's some hedgerows that I have to keep. It says here, so they've told them that they have to pay for funds to improve the Hever Road, but then it says it is important to note that planning permission does not convey any approval to carry out works on or affecting the public highway. So any changes to affecting the public highway in Kent require formal agreement of the Highway Authority, Kent County Council, and it should not be assumed that this will be given because planning permission has been granted. But they could get planning permission, but then not have permission to work on the roads. Here's the other thing. This is it. Recommendation B. If the Section 106 legal agreement is not signed in accordance with the above recommendation, then planning permission will be refused on the following grounds. They basically said, look, we want these things. We want you to pay for these things. If you do, we'll give you planning permission. If you don't, you can piss off. And it seems Millwall have agreed. And they've got their planning permission to run through. So, but here's all the, it just goes on and on and on. I mean, if you ever get a spare 3 hours, you want to have a read of this, it just goes on and on and on and on. This is massive and complex, and must have taken thousands and thousands of hours to put this together. The fact that Millwall have even done this is incredible. A lot of people moaning about the club, how they function, club shop, tickets, but they've come on leaps and bounds. So the fact that they seem to have pulled this off is quite incredible. It really is something impressive. Look, we're going on and on and on. 220 to 30 to 40 just goes on and on. And here we go. We go to, there's a site as it is now. And here's a site as it is the end. So Millwall actually own ancient woodland because they bought all of this site, and they're going to develop the part inside the red, and the part inside the blue. They're going to leave that, but they're going to own it. So Millwall will own some woodland. Nice. So there you go. There's all the pictures. Pretty impressive that they've got this going. But you can see on the left hand side here, the houses here. I think it's something like 20 houses. And they're obviously not going to be happy, but I mean, they want to sell their house. I'm sure there might be a Millwall footballer or two that would love to buy it. Literally roll out of bed, rock into training, and you've got a 3-minute commute. And then back again. I mean, lovely jubbly. And I imagine maybe the club will let you leave your car parked training ground. Absolutely fantastic. Isn't that brilliant? I don't know how much these houses go for. Probably what, maybe 250? Not too sure. But yeah, it seems to be moving forward. Training ground approval. Got to get the contract signed, sealed, and delivered. Wait for the Secretary of State to say he's not getting his nose involved, and then we can break ground. So that would be good if they have a ceremony now. John Berylson can come in with a shovel and stick it in the ground and get things going. That would be and I don't know if they've gonna call it, but I think you've got to call it the John Brelson training ground or something like that. And I'll stick his name on it. I mean, this is going to take Millwall to another level, which coincidentally we seem to have the possibility to go to another level on the pitch, and we're going to move on to that now. So obviously, yesterday's game, late night game, 8 o'clock kickoff. Didn't get all of the post-match comments out, so we've got them now. We've got a couple of post-match comments from Gary Rowett, I believe, and then we're going to move on to post-match stats. Millwall boss passes on credit to backroom team for Championship's best set-piece goal record, indeed. So this is from londonnewsonline.co.uk. Gary Rowett praised the other members of his Millwall coaching staff, but they once again underlined their set-piece prowess in Wednesday's 3-0 win over Watford. It was a third straight Championship victory for the Lions. 2 of Tom Bradshaw's 3 goals came from set pieces. The South Londoners have the best record of any Championship club when it comes to set piece goals, 12. Rowett asked about the quality, said, "I don't get involved much. I leave it to Adam. He takes the main role. Marshy's come in and really added some good detail. Robbo, Sam and Dan, the analysts, they all do work and they all work tirelessly the whole week to highlight the areas of weaknesses and strength. You still need to have the players to play it. If you have the team of 5-3 players, then it doesn't matter what work you do. You're probably not going to score so many goals. We've got a nice combination. We've been deadly all season. And at times, sometimes, when you pick that type of team, it's because it's such a strength. It takes away some of your other capabilities. It's a division of set plays and the first goals. If you look at those two things, they probably end up two key factors on who wins the games. Unfortunately, you like to say that it isn't, but it is. So we have to work very hard to make sure we come out on the right of that. And then we've got Gary Rowett praising Tom Bradshaw. Oh, why not? SuffolkNews.co.uk is from. Tom Bradshaw scored all 3 goals, all 3 of his goals in just 33 minutes on Wednesday evening. He got the match ball and he got the man of the match from Sky Bet. Nice. Mill boss Gary Rowett praised Tom Bradshaw for his incredible first half hat-trick against Watford. The striker had struggled to convert his chances before he scored his first goal in the season against Bristol City last weekend. It clearly boosted his confidence as he found the back of the net 3 times against Watford before the half-time break. It takes the 30-year-old's tally for the season up to 4 goals, meaning that Zion Fleming is the only Mill player to outscore him. Crucially, the Lions attackers have hit a real patch of form at a crucial side. That doesn't make sense. At a crucial time. I think that's supposed to be time. Rowett is keen to see Bradshaw carry his goals into the next few weeks. It's the life of a striker, unfortunately, explained after the match. The life of a striker is that you have a couple of games, you have chances, and you don't quite have that same feel about it because you haven't scored. Maybe you're a little edgy when you get those moments. What I would say is to Bradders is that he's kept doing the right things. He's probably got in the team just on the fact that he plays with such energy up there. He's a really good forward for the 3 behind him. He wins so many things, or he backs into people, and he works so hard that the ball's dropped, and the other 3 can come into play sometimes without having to pass our way into those areas. I probably would have started Bennick if it had been a game where he hadn't scored against Bristol, because I felt we needed that energy in the team up front. But if you're a striker and you keep scoring, it makes it quite an easy selection. You score a hat-trick and it takes it quite an easy selection. To keep a player out like Bennick, you've got to keep doing that. I'm not saying they can't play together, because of course they got a very good relationship. Bennick has been really unfortunate, but I'm sure even he will sit there and recognise when a striker could perform. Indeed, so kind of a mission there. I think we all expected that. In the Middlesbrough game and in the Rotherham game, Tom Bradshaw had some very decent chances that he didn't actually score. And going into that Bristol City game, there was pressure on him to score, because I think we all thought that if he didn't, it would be time to put someone else in there. But he did, and he's carried that on into the Watford game, and hopefully he'll carry it on again into Saturday's game against West Bromwich Albion. So we've got the last story here from Gary Rowett. Gary Rowett discusses Mill's horribly beautiful win against Watford. The Lions recorded their third successive victory by beating Hornets on Wednesday evening. Gary Rowett labelled the opening stages of Mill's 3-0 win against Watford as horrible beautiful. The Lions took the lead after just 7 minutes when Tom Bradshaw turned his early goal to hat-trick after finding the back of the net twice again before the half-time break. It helped Rowett's side to record their biggest win. Although the Millwall boss is reluctant to describe it as their best performance of the season, I think it's the best result of the season. I think it's the best scoreline of the season, he said. It's so difficult to say if it's the best performance. I thought the way we started the game was certainly the best we started at home. It's a very good side that were in the Premier League last year. With good individuals, I felt we needed to start aggressively. I probably didn't expect to start quite so aggressively. I just said to the players in there, it was almost horribly beautiful after about 5 or 10 minutes because they weren't dealing with it and couldn't deal with it. It was almost like the players thought, just keep doing it. And to go 3-0 up by putting balls in good areas, backing it up, being aggressive, winning flicks. Coops has won so many first contacts and off set pieces, is a massive strength of ours. There's also some really good finishes amongst that as well. You look at Brad's first goal, it's an absolute sensational finish. It's a volley almost with the outside of his foot. Finds the side netting. The second one is a great bit of play from Benno. Brilliant bit of play off Coops, slick and it's tapping. The third one is a lovely little touch from Bradders, inside of his left foot, and then he sends the keeper the wrong way to finish. 3 good goals, I thought. We had some good other good opportunities to actually limit them to a lot of long range efforts and not too many clear cut chances. We allowed a few late on. I was a bit disappointed by, but because I wanted a clean sheet. Overall, in terms of effort level, grit, determination to get them in their spirit, I thought it was an absolutely outstanding. Indeed, 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 indeed. How outstanding? Well, we're going to find out now because we are going to look at the stats from that game. And here we are. Now, this is a bit of a shock. The XG is quite low, although this is from an info goal not there. Who are a bit funny with the XG. They have XG of 1.8 to Millwall and 1.77 to Watford. And that left me scratching my head saying, really? Watford's was that high? But apparently so. Here are the match events. Loser. Got subbed off after 80 minutes, got injured. They got booking. And then they made 2 changes at half time. I thought the geezer, was it Kalu? Kalu seemed to have a bit more about him than other Watford players. And looking at this, I looked at this earlier. I didn't realise that if we look at the XG shot map, it didn't feel like the second half that we were defending as much as I think we were. But apparently we did. Now these are Millwall's attempts on goal, as you can see, nearly all of them inside the area, except for 2. The super long range one was George Saville, 6 minutes, and then Tyler Berry there in the injury time. The 3 goals are the ones in yellow. Tom Bradshaw's goal. So the best chance was he scored, and I think, yeah, the 3 best chances were actually scored. There's another chance here, Jake Cooper, just before half time, which wasn't scored. And then you go to Watford, and I'm like, oh, okay, they did have some decent chances there in the injury time at the end. Yeah, from Kalu, and then by 2 chances in the injury time at the end. Fair result. Was that a fair result? 53.04. Apparently not. Apparently not. But it was. Now, if we look, this is what surprised me. We look at first half. That's not surprising. But what's surprising is I didn't realise that we didn't have. It felt like we had a bit more going forward, but apparently not. These are our shots in the second half. So, baby, I think that's the George Saville one, yeah, and then the Tyler Berry one that I showed you. So we only had 3 shots in the second half, and we had to withstand this barrage of chances from Watford, all within the last 10 minutes of the game, which didn't feel like we were in any danger of conceding. Kalu did have a bit about it, but it didn't feel like I wasn't worried at all. Now maybe because we were 3-1 up. If it was 1-0 or 2-1, might be a bit more nervy. But I wasn't worried at all. Now moving on to WhoScored.com. Now obviously man of the match quite clearly Tom Bradshaw 9.3, Sean Hutchinson 8.3. Top five rated players, all Millwall players, of course. Millwall's strengths: create a high number of chances relative to the possession, stole the ball from the opposition, were effective at creating goals when produced from set pieces, were strong at finishing. Weaknesses: lost possession often. Styles: attack through the middle, had a high shot frequency when in possession, and favoured long balls. Watford were poor at finishing, high number of individual errors. Yes, a lot of misplaced passes. Absolutely shocking in the second tier of English football. You got players who cannot pass to each other. Absolutely incredible. Now here we go. So both teams had 12 attempts on goal. Both teams had 5 and 5 open play. We had 7 set pieces. They had 6. They had 1 counter attack. We scored 3 goals. That's 25% conversion rate. That is incredible. That is as good as it gets. We mostly going down the wings though, but the shots through the middle. So shot directions through the middle and the left. Shot zones, action zones, player positions. So Malone playing further forward, and that's Cooper there. I think number 5, isn't it? So his average position is a lot further forward because obviously he's getting on the end of them set piece. And I don't know what the hell Watford are doing here. This kind of positioning, all very weird. Yeah, why were they doing that? Very weird. Having 4 and 32 and 6 and 5 basically playing on each other. That kind of doesn't make any sense. McNamara and Hutchinson playing quite deep. Someone's got to, I suppose. Saville Mitchell 23 and 8. Nice. Yeah, makes sense. So let's move on to Match Center. Get some numbers. There's all the match events as before. Assist for Mason Bennett, assist for Jake Cooper. And Jake Cooper was obviously involved in that goal as well. He flicked it onto Mason Bennett, who then crossed it into Tom Bradshaw. If you look at the club badges at the top left and top right, average player rating for Millwall 7.03. Average rating for Watford is 6.27. Crowd of 12,787, with many Watford fans. Well, at the start, by the time the game was nearly over, there were a lot less of them. So lowest rated player actually Vogelshammer after starting 6.6, just below George Long with 6.7. Obviously Bradshaw 9.3, Hutch 8.3, and everyone else very good scores. If we go to the shots, who had the shots? There you go. Bradshaw. So Bradshaw 4 shots, 3 goals. Possession 33.9 to 66.1. Don't need possession. We just why keep possession? Just attack and then lose the ball and then go again. Pass success percentage, that's quite low for us actually, 55 to 79. Holy moly, George Long 11%. Wow, that is so low. That's lower than fucking Biakowski on his worst day. Yeah, so Hutchinson was 71. Vogelshammer was 75. I imagine that's off a low amount of passes though. We'll get into that later. Dribbles 3 to 13. This is what I said. This is what I said. Because they couldn't pass to each other, what they would do is once they did pass it to someone forward, they would just run with it. That's how they played. Weird to watch. Like old school, like kick and run. They would kick it and then run. They used to play like that in the 1900s in Scotland. They invented that stuff. You would kick it up to a player, and then they would try and run through the whole team, and then have a shot on goal. It's very weird. They can't pass to each other. Second division of English football. They cannot fucking pass. They've got banana feet. No offense, but you know what I mean, like lead feet. They just fucking no control. Aerials one, no technique. Aerials one, 25 to 35. So there you go. Cooper with 9. Not bad. Hutch with 6. Pollock though with 10. Interesting. Tackles 23 to 13. Obviously, when you got players dribbling at you, gives you a good chance to tackle them. If they're passing it around, you don't really tackle if someone's passing. You intercept it, or you block it. You kind of just close down. But when people are dribbling at you, you got to tackle it. It's pretty decent, easy to tackle them. And there we go, Hutch with 8. 8 tackles in the game. Incredible stuff. Corners 2 to 5. Dispossessed 12 to 13. That's basically, like I said, when you're dribbling with the ball, when you have it taken off, that's what happened there. And obviously, happened to them a lot because that's what all they were doing, was dribbling with the ball. It's literally the whole front line was just people dribbling. No one could pass. There's no movement, no passing, just, oh, I've got the ball now, I'm going to dribble forwards with it. All very weird. It's just, I've never seen a team play like that. It's so weird. Moving on to, so we're going to look at player stats in a bit more detail in a list format. So how many shots did they have on target? Because we've had this running theme going on now since the Rotherham game, since the formation change, that the opposition only had 1 shot on target. So we've got the shots. 12. It was 12, wasn't it? How many on target? 1. 1 shot on target. Only 1 shot on target. Kalu hit the bar. Interesting stuff. But again, 12 shots, only 1 shot on target. I think pretty decisively the formation's working though. I think it's working. So highest rated players 9.26, 8.27, and then we have 3 other players 7.5 and above. Saville, Bennett, Cooper. And Bennett, that's pretty impressive. You only have 59 minutes on the pitch to get 7.56. That is pretty good. That is pretty good. He seemed a bit disappointed when he come off. I don't know why. I know he's got injury problems and he doesn't like being subbed. But it's a squad game now. We've got 5 subs. Like, bro, you had an assist. You played really, really well. You got 7.56 score off of 59 minutes on the pitch. It is what it is. Like, it's not a thing on you. It's like, that's happening now. We're using the substitutes. That's how it goes. Keep your chin up and just crack on. Who had the most touches? Scott Malone, Danny McNamara, Sean Hudson, George Saville. Interesting. So they're still going down that left-hand side. So obviously, when we played the 5, we had the 3 centre backs. They would often use whoever was on the right-hand side as the out man and the out ball. Generally Hutchinson or sometimes Cresswell. He was playing it. Now we've gone to back 4. They're not going through McNamara really. They were going through Murray Wallace, and they've carried that on, even though Scott Malone was in that position now. So interesting stuff. Nearly gave away the goal before he scored. He had a pass in the middle, and they got intercepted, and they all had to run back, and the shot got deflected. So nearly had a bit of faux pas. So how many shots did we have on target actually? So we had 12 shots as well. 4 shots on target. 4 shots on target, 3 goals. Absolutely fantastic. Tom Bradshaw, 4 shots. 3 of them were on target. Every shot he had on target went in. Brilliant stuff. Absolutely brilliant there from Tom Bradshaw. And a reminder that little Welsh flag there. He can play for Wales. He's played for Wales before. And what are they waiting for? Cometh the man, cometh the hour. Sign him up. Get him out to Qatar. And win that World Cup. Moving on to we've seen that. Defensively, who had the tackles, interceptions, blah blah blah. Obviously, Sean Hutchinson 8, Saville with 4, Mason Bennett 3. That's obviously bumped his score up. Pretty much everyone getting involved in tackling, except for Jane Cooper. Yeah, that's what he was playing further forward though. He was doing a lot of stuff up front. Interceptions, McNamara, George Saville, Billy Mitchell, Simon Bloom. Clearances, 5 from Sean Hutchinson. Sean Hutchinson is really good. When he plays in defence, it's like night and day, isn't it? When he is playing, when he isn't playing. Block shots. So we blocked 2, 3, 4, 5 shots. They had 12 shots. They only had 1 shot target, and we blocked 5 of their shots. Impressive stuff. Even Benicofombi getting involved in a block shot there. Passing wise, so obviously we didn't have that many passes. We didn't have that much possession. We were like 33%. George Long actually had the most passes, 28, but joint with Hutchinson and Malone. But 10%. Was it that bad? So he's had 28 passes, all long passes, and only 3 of them were accurate. Okay, I guess. I guess that's because Pollock on their side was winning a lot of aerials. In terms of who had the best passing game, you've probably got to say Sean Hutchinson, 71.4 off of 28 passes. Yes, pretty decent, but we didn't really pass it that much either, did we? In terms of crosses and accurate crosses, Malone 5 and 2, Bogleshammer 2 and 1. But here's the thing, look, Mason Bennett 2 and 0. But he crossed it for the goal. But he didn't hit. He just played it into the space and Bradshaw ran onto it. So that doesn't count as an accurate cross. So these stats kind of skewed, you know what I mean? You've got to read past them and read between them. Long balls and accurate long balls. Malone 14-7, Hutch 7-1. Yeah, it's a bit. The long balls don't seem to be working that well. Let's go back to the ratings and just see what did the subs do. Not much. So all of the lowest rated players were the subs who came on, which is how it should be because they haven't had that much time on the pitch. And we see Shackleton nearly did enough to overtake Vogelsammer, 6.36 to 6.59, but not quite. So there you go. I mean, interesting stuff. Just crazy how Watford didn't really pass it. They just dribble all the time. Weird way of playing. And we're going to finish on this, if you're still watching and you haven't fallen asleep. This is on Twitter from JP Millwall 2. This apparently was on Sky Television at some point. I don't know if it was during the game or at half time or what. Millwall stats by formation, right? Per game in the Championship this season. The old formation and the new formation. Points per game. Back 5, 1.18. 4-2-3-1, 2.33. Goals scored with a back five, 1.09. New formation, 1.67. Goals conceded with a back five, 1.45. With the new formation, 0.67. I think it's safe to say back five is dead. Long live 4-2-3-1. And on that note, thank you for watching and goodbye.